Good afternoon. I'm Kevin Brennan with the Notre Dame Alumni Association. Thanks so much for joining us for another edition of Catching Up With, the online learning series that allows you to learn a little bit more about and interact directly with some of our interesting Notre Dame alumni. Today we're thrilled to be joined by a member of the class of 2004 who at a young age has already established herself as a significant figure in the world of media. She's an entertainment reporter for USA Today and a frequent guest on a number of television shows, including The Today Show. Arienne Thompson, thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to do it.
Well, great. We're thrilled to have you here. For those of you who are watching live today, if you'd like to submit a question for Arienne, you can do so by emailing us at ndalumni@nd.edu. That's ndalumni@nd.edu. So, Arienne, we like to, here on Catching Up With, we like to kind of start from the beginning. So, first of all, where did you grow up?
I'm from Memphis, Tennessee.
And when you were growing up, as a child, did you know kind of, in high school and everything, did you know what you wanted to do? Did you always want to be a writer or a reporter?
I did. Since high school, I knew I wanted to be a journalist, and my decision to go to Notre Dame was not really based on us having a good journalism program. Not that we don't, but it's not, one of the pillars of our school. So I went to Notre Dame knowing that I wasn't going to be a journalism major or a minor, but I knew that I wanted to go to grad school for journalism, which is what I did. And when I was at Notre Dame, I was a music critic for The Observer, but that was mainly to get free CDs. So I was not trying to, audition for Rolling Stone. I was just like, I need this new Kanye CD, so why don't I write about it?
Well, you mentioned you didn't go to Notre Dame necessarily for journalism. Obviously Notre Dame and South Bend are very different from Memphis. What was it that drew you to Notre Dame and made you decide to go to college here?
Actually, my decision to go to Notre Dame was so, blasé. My family is Catholic, so I knew what Notre Dame was, but it was just never on my radar. And when I was a senior in high school, my parents were like, Notre Dame's a good school, why don't you apply? And I was totally burned out. I was like, I've applied to 10 schools, whatever. I was like, I will fill it out. You fill it out, I will sign it, whatever. So then I got in and I was like, wow, Notre Dame's a great school. Maybe I should go there. So it was literally that simple. And my sister, who's also a Notre Dame grad, totally opposite. She's one of those kids who wanted to go to Notre Dame from third grade on. So we were completely different when it came to that.
Well, when you arrived on campus, coming from the South, how big of a transition was it for you, from the weather to everything else? How much of a change was it when you arrived at Notre Dame?
Well, I was fortunate enough growing up to travel the country with my grandparents, so I had been to basically every major city by the time I was 12 or 13. So it wasn't that much of a culture shock. I mean, it is South Bend, and Notre Dame is not known for its diversity, so there were some things to get used to. And I hate snow to this day because of Notre Dame. I will say, we get some snow in Tennessee, and I'm in D.C. now, we get some snow too, but I just never want to experience South Bend snow again.
I wish I could say that I want to experience it again, but I think, unfortunately, winter's coming.
You're trying.
How about the question that it seems like every Notre Dame graduate asks another one when they meet each other is, what dorm did you live in at Notre Dame?
I was in Welsh Family Hall, and I'm showing my age. Back then, that was one of the new dorms. Now it is ancient, and there are new dorms in place.
And what did you study when you were at Notre Dame?
I was a history major and a Japanese minor at Notre Dame.
And that's interesting, a Japanese minor. How did you decide on that? What drew you to that?
Well, freshman year you have to take a language, and I thought Spanish is so easy. Not easy, but, it's so sort of adaptable. And I thought about Chinese and Arabic, and I was like, well, I'm swinging too far, with the extremes there. And I was randomly put into this Japanese literature class, and I loved it. And so much of learning Japanese literature was learning about the language and why it's important. So my freshman year, I started taking Japanese classes, and I just kept going. And I studied abroad in Tokyo, and I just loved it. It was probably the best decision I made at Notre Dame.
Oh, that's really interesting. Do you find yourself now do you find excuses to go to Japan or speak Japanese on occasion?
I wish. I'm like, it's the best decision I ever made, but I don't speak Japanese at all or do anything. I still love Hello Kitty though.
And so you mentioned you wrote for The Observer a bit. were you still focused when you were at Notre Dame on becoming a reporter? And if so, kind of what did you do to try to work towards that goal?
I didn't do that much besides, continuing to be a good writer, but I wasn't a news hound while I was at Notre Dame. And I went into grad school so green. Like, I knew nothing. I barely knew how to write a lead, which was great because I really got my money's worth in grad school. I learned how to be a journalist in grad school. I'm just a firm believer that in undergrad, you should just study whatever you want. I tell kids that all the time. Their parents don't like it, but I'm like, if you want to be like a pottery minor, just do it. You'll be happier, your grades will be better. So that was my focus in school, was just to learn about what I cared about at that time.
And where did you go to graduate school, and what was the degree you pursued there?
I got a journalism degree at American University here in DC.
Oh, okay, great. So have you been in DC ever since then? How did you get from grad school to USA Today?
I went straight from grad school from undergrad. I've been in DC for 10 years, which I cannot believe. And then when I was in grad school, I interned here at USA Today the summer right as I was graduating. So I was a health and behavior intern. My first article was about trampoline injuries. And then I went and worked in television for a year. I was a production assistant at America's Most Wanted. And the whole time I was at America's Most Wanted, I stayed in touch with my internship boss here, and they really wanted me to come back. So once we found a position that worked with, I was so young, and something that worked with my qualifications, then I came back. So I've been here since 2006.
And when you returned to USA Today full time in 2006, were you always an entertainment reporter? Did you have other beats? What's the path you've taken at USA Today?
The entertainment was always my beat, but I was definitely like a minion down on the totem pole when I first started. So I was an online producer, which means that I put all of our print content online, and I might enhance it by adding a photo gallery or an audio clip or that sort of thing. But I worked from like 4 to midnight. So that was for about 2 or 3 years that I did that. 4 to midnight, putting stuff online. And I was writing stories here and there, but I was not a reporter. I was a producer. So certainly a paying my dues sort of situation, but it was great, and I learned so much.
And how did you kind of work your way up the ladder? How did you get from there to where you are now, where you're regularly writing and appearing on web TV shows for USA Today and all that? How did you go from step A to where you are today?
Well, as simple as it sounds, just from like being good at it. So to do a red carpet, to do a celebrity interview, it's not rocket science, but it does take a finesse, and it's a bit of an art. So once I did my first fashion story, I did my first red carpet, did my first big celebrity interview, those things just built on each other, and people saw, we can send her on a carpet and she's not going to freak out. She's not going to be like, I was too scared to talk to anybody. Like, you have to be very aggressive and almost a little bit crazy on a red carpet. So once they saw and trusted that I could do that, then I just kept getting more assignments. And, it's about asking the right questions and, like I said, not being afraid of anything, because people will try to tell you that you can't go in this door and you got to just go in the back door then. So it takes a lot.
You said things can get crazy on the red carpet. What's sort of your craziest red carpet moment that you've had during your time at USA Today?
The thing about red carpets is there is like not one crazy moment. Red carpets are just insane, period. So I've been stepped on, I've been hit in the head with cameras, I've gotten into little tiffs with camera crews about them invading my space, because sometimes when you're just a print reporter, they want, the TV shows want to like block you in and that sort of thing. I've had celebrities flirt with me. I've had people give me their numbers. I've had, I remember Sandra Bullock once told me that she loved my dress, and I was like, what, are you talking to me? Rascal Flatts once told me that they like loved my jewelry, and I was like, what? Like, what is this? So it's fun, and it's almost like an out-of-body experience. Like, it goes by so quickly, and you're so focused on getting the good people. So just last week I was in New York for Fashion Week, and I did a red carpet for Fashion Rocks, which is this big concert. So all red carpets are also like a lot of hurry up and wait. So you wait for the big stars to come, and in the meantime, the smaller C and D list people, their publicists are sort of begging you to interview them, and you're just like, no, we're good. I'm going to pass on them. So then, of course, as soon as J Lo comes, then it's like pandemonium, and we're all trying to get her, and I'm just literally like sticking my mic in, like while she's talking. She's not even talking to me, but I'm just like sticking the mic in, like, okay, and telling my camera guy, like, get her, get the B-roll, get this. I'm putting my mic in. So it's just, you have to be mentally and physically equipped for it. This is not the time to wear your highest heels or your tightest dress or whatever. Like, you need to look nice, but it's kind of, it's a battlefield. So you got to go in ready and comfortable and strong.
Right. You've interviewed so many celebrities, like you said. Has there been one that's kind of stuck out that you were, particularly starstruck or nervous to interview any celebrity that really, is memorable in that sense?
The thing is, I don't have time to get starstruck. So when I'm in front of a celebrity, there are questions that have to be asked. So if someone is in the middle of a scandal or in the middle of a divorce or just had a baby, it's my job to ask not only about the project that they're promoting, but about that big thing that's in the news and to try to make news. So for instance, I love Victoria Beckham, and I was at her fashion show a few years ago, and she was pregnant with her daughter Harper, but at the time we didn't know if she was having a boy or a girl. It was a big deal. So I just sort of casually asked her, like, if you have a girl, that'll be so exciting, you'll get to dress her, blah, blah, blah. And she told me, well, we don't know what we're having yet. And that was the first time that she had told anyone that they didn't know the sex of the baby, and I knew that. So I'm just smiling. As soon as I get in the cab, I text my editor, and I'm like, she just told me they don't know the sex of the baby. We have a scoop. Nobody else knows that. So it just sets all these things into motion. So I say all that to say, so many things are happening in my head that the fact that I'm in front of Ben Affleck or on the phone with Brad Pitt, like, part of me, like, in another dimension is like, oh my God, you're on the phone with Brad Pitt. But work me is like, you have to ask him about these things. So there's no time to be starstruck.
Right. Has there been one interview, a celebrity or someone else, an interview you've conducted that's been the most difficult or challenging?
Oh my God, yes. Reese Witherspoon. We have had some times, me and Reese. The first time I interviewed her was not so bad. She's fine, but her publicist is, Reese pays her publicist to be aggressive. That's what they do, is they pay someone to sort of protect them and say, can't ask this, don't ask that. And we never agree to not ask anything. We don't submit questions beforehand. We don't say we won't ask about X, Y, Z. So that first time was a little tense. The second time was terrible. The publicist tried to cut the interview off about 6 minutes in because she had instructed me that I couldn't ask about Jake Gyllenhaal. And of course I'm going to ask about Jake Gyllenhaal. This was when they were dating, or they had just broken up. So she cuts off the interview, and she and I sort of get into a fight. And let me just say, it ended with her calling my cell phone the next day to apologize, the publicist, and it was just not good.
Well, at least you got the apology, so yeah. Sounds like you were in the right. As we mentioned, you're on TV a lot. You're a regular guest on the Today Show. When did that start? We talked about your beginnings at USA Today. When did you first start going on TV, and how difficult of a transition was that?
I never thought I would do TV. When I was in grad school, people would always say, you should do broadcast, and I was like, oh, I'm not interested in TV. And even when I worked in TV, I was more interested in writing for the website and not the production stuff. So 2 years ago, when Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes got divorced, Entertainment Tonight called USA Today and asked for a reporter to give some expert commentary on it. I had never done TV. I had never done live TV, but I was like, okay, sure. I said yes, not knowing literally did not know what I was doing. So the segment actually was okay. It wasn't my best work, but it wasn't terrible. And then I was like, wait, that was fun, and it wasn't terrifying, completely terrifying. So fast forward a few months later, and CNN wanted someone to do Oscar commentary the night after the Oscars. And with that Entertainment Tonight clip under my belt, we were able to show that to them, and they were like, she looks good, she knows what she's talking about, we'll have her. So it's sort of just a domino effect. So once people see you on something, then they want you on too, So it's just built from there, and the Today Show has been amazing. I've been doing it for over a year. I go up to New York once a month, and it's a segment called Ticket to Hollywood, which is all about celebrity news. And, it's live, which can be nerve-wracking because it's live, you know, so you can't be coughing or being like, oh, my shoe came untied, or Al just made a joke, and, you know, it's not taped, so you have to respond to Al's joke right then. You know, they're not going to edit you out. They're not going to edit things out. So I learn something every time I'm on because I have no broadcast training. I just sort of get up there and do it, and I look at what the professionals are doing, and I take notes. I'm like, okay, right now Natalie Morales has her legs crossed. I should cross my legs too. Or I'm like, Tamron's smiling. I should smile too. You know, so it's been so fun.
Is there, is there one, you do a lot of writing and a lot of television now, is there one you prefer over the other? And moving forward, kind of as you look towards the long term in your career, would you like to shift more focusing on television, or stay with a mix of both, or focus more on writing? What's kind of your long-term goals?
I really love doing both. And in terms of long-term goals, I love that I don't know. You know, of course I would love to do more TV, but today I'm not like, okay, I have to be on E. Like, I have to be on E, you know? And what's great about that for me is that TV has been a surprise completely. So who knows what else is coming, you know? So it's not that I'm trying to box myself in and say, I only want to write long form, or I only want to be on TV. All I want is to be open to opportunities that might present themselves, because this has been such an amazing and fun surprise to do video here at USA Today. I host a show called Daily Dish, which is just me sort of riffing on celebrity news, and then to do all this TV stuff and to still be writing cover stories for the paper. So to me, I have it all right now in terms of things that I'm interested in and being able to showcase my talents and my expertise.
You obviously, as you talked about all that, you have a ton on your plate, but you've also done a lot since you've graduated to give back to Notre Dame. You served on the Black Alumni Board, you served on the Alumni Association Board, and I know you're also, I believe, on one of the advisory councils here at the university. What has driven you, while you are so busy in your career and you're living far away in Washington, D.C., what's driven you to be so involved with Notre Dame after you left?
I just love the place. I mean, that sounds so corny and lame, but it's just so true. I tell people all the time that I'm a huge Notre Dame nerd. So when I was a student, I saw some of my friends that were on diversity boards, some of my older friends, and I always thought I want to be a part of that. And so it was sort of a no-brainer for me, basically, as soon as I graduated, to try to get on the Black Alumni Board and to stay super involved. And I've been involved with the DC Club the whole time that I've been here. So it's another one of those domino effect things where it just grows and grows and grows. And when people see how involved you are, then they keep asking. They're like, oh, could you do this? Could you do that? And it's always a yes from me, because deciding to go to Notre Dame was certainly like the best decision I've ever made. And I tell kids that a lot, and they sort of look at me like I'm crazy. And then 4 years later, they're like, you're so right, So it's such a special place. It's literally home away from home.
And that leads us into, we have a number of questions here from folks who are watching live, and one of them is, with such a busy schedule you have, how do you maintain balance in your life?
That is such a good question, and if you have the answer to that, just please tell me, because, so for instance today, let me just give you a rundown of my day today. After I leave the office, I will be going to the CBS affiliate here, where I do a weekly celebrity segment for them. Tomorrow I'm doing a red carpet event with them. Then I'll immediately get on the train to go to New York. I'll do the Today Show Friday morning, come back here, and then my fiance and I are going to the beach for the weekend. So that's just the next few days, and I need coffee. So the work-life balance thing is kind of like, I don't know, trying to figure it out.
Another question from our audience: have you met any celebrities who are Notre Dame fans?
Nothing comes to mind, but I do know the celebrities that are Notre Dame fans, and I just can't remember if I've met them. Like, I know Martin Sheen is a big fan, but I don't know if I've met him. And Carson Daly is a big fan, but I've only done the show with him like once, like forever ago. But oh God, I don't know. Sorry, that was the worst thing.
Another question we have here is, what is the one thing as an alumna of Notre Dame that you have a hard time explaining to friends or colleagues about Notre Dame when you're discussing why you love the school so much with them?
It's just that intangible, special aspect about it. And especially being an alum of color, some of my black friends are like, okay, but it's Notre Dame, like it's really white. And I'm like, yes, but you don't get it. Like you don't understand that it's the most beautiful campus on earth and everyone is amazing and it was the best ever. So it's just hard to explain. It's sort of like, why do you love your parents? Like how do you explain that? It's inexplicable. So it's just such a special place, and whenever I'm back, it really feels like home. When I land at South Bend Airport, which is the most hilarious airport in the nation, I just feel like I'm home. Look at that terrible cafe. Like I'm back. I just love it.
Another question here is, who is your favorite celebrity that you've covered while you've been working at USA Today?
Favorite that I've covered, I mean, who doesn't love Beyonce, right? I haven't met her yet, but I do love her. Favorite that I've actually met or encountered, Ben Affleck is like one of the sweetest, smarter, and I'm sort of obsessed with him. And I just met David Beckham last week, and he, swear to God, is the nicest celebrity that I've ever met. Like, he is an angel sent from heaven. Which I wasn't expecting him to be mean or anything, but I was just like, oh my God, like, why are you so nice? Like, he is the nicest ever.
Right. Well, it sounds like you're a fan of both Beckhams then. You mentioned Victoria earlier in the interview. And what is sort of your, one more question, what is your day-to-day like? What is kind of an average day for you as a USA Today reporter, TV personality? What's a normal day like?
So my day starts around 7:15, and I'm trolling news to see what we should do for Daily Dish because, like I said, it's my opinion. So if someone wore something like hideous, then the Daily Dish for that day would be me riffing on how bad the dress was. So I'm trying to figure out what to do for Daily Dish, and then we have an entertainment blog that I also write for the site. If I'm working on a cover story, then I'm interviewing sources all day. I'm the editor for the celebrity page of USA Weekend, which is our magazine, so I'm managing 3 freelance writers and editing that page every week. I have WUSA every Wednesday, and then on weeks when I have the Today Show, I'm leaving on Thursday to go up to New York. So every week is pretty chock full of stuff, and that doesn't even count like special events. So last week was Fashion Week, so I was even crazier than usual.
Well, obviously you have a very packed schedule. Are you going to have make the time to come out for a home football game this fall?
Yes, I will be up for the Northwestern game. So I'm really excited. I just hope that there is no snow because I can't deal.
Great, great. And hopefully we'll still be undefeated by then.
I know. Let's not jinx ourselves. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to talk about it.
Arienne, thank you so much for joining us. Can you tell the folks who are watching live and watching later on our YouTube page where they can, if they want to, find your work, where they can find it and how they can follow you online?
Yeah, of course. So to see Daily Dish, go to entertainthis.usatoday.com every day. This Friday, September 19th, I will be on the Today Show during the 9 o'clock hour. I'm usually on around 9:15. And for anyone that's in D.C., I'll be on Channel 9, CBS, tonight at 5:30 and tomorrow from 5 to 7.
Great. Well, we will certainly tune into the Today Show on Friday morning. And thanks so much for taking the time out today. We enjoyed it and we really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was really fun. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. And thanks to all of you who joined us live or who are watching later on our YouTube page. To keep up with all of our upcoming online learning events, please visit us at my.nd.edu/online learning. You can also go back and watch all of our previous events by visiting the Notre Dame Alumni Association channel on YouTube. I'm Kevin Brennan with the Alumni Association. Thanks so much for watching.